Hello and welcome, world. This is for your health only. This is a platform that we're going to use to share information, have conversation, anything that has to do with the topic of health and wellness, new and upcoming information that can affect your wellness. We're going to talk about food, balance, rest, happiness, disease prevention, some disease management from our own experiential perspective. And we are here as a place for information and for entertainment. We are your place where you can come and feel comfortable to have things explained in a way that you can understand, where you can ask questions in the comments, where you will be able to interact with and engage with people from everyday life, as well as people who are experts in their fields, whether it be wellness, nutrition, exercise, sports, aging, you name it, sexual health, retirement, longevity. There is no topic that is going to be off the table for this channel. So take a position of comfort, relax, come on in. And if you're watching this on its replay, then you are also welcome to leave your comments, to put questions and even solutions in the comment section. We are following the fair use policy, where we'll be able to explore conversations on a variety of topics about our health and well-being. We are not a replacement for your medical advisors, so please seek their advice if you're going to make changes to do with your health and your health practices. So let's get on with what we're here to talk about today. And today we're looking at the perspective of health. We're looking at it from the perspective of the World Health Organization. And their definition, I see it as a three-pronged or three-legged stool. Health being comprising of physical, mental, and social aspects. So their definition is that health is a state of physical, mental, and social well-being, and it's not just the absence of disease. Okay, so it's not just as if there is no diagnosed medical or psychological disorder. So it is a composite of physical, mental, and social well-being. We're going to break it down, and as we continue our conversations, we are going to take a wider look at what this means. What is the meaning of this physical, mental, and social perspective? When we're talking about health, it may mean so many different things to different people. So when we're talking, and their definition is that health is a state of physical, mental, and social. So So I also want to get your feedback. Let me know what your thoughts are. But when we look at health from the physical perspective, we often consider what we can see, what we can touch, our senses. And oftentimes we don't think about our internal environment, our internal organs. So we're going to break that out quite a bit. And so we're going to look at health, the physical aspect of health, and we're going to look at the mental aspect of health, as well as the social status of our health. We're going to talk about social disparities or health disparities that affects our health and well-being. So when we look at the physical aspect, we're looking at from head to toe and inside our internal organs, our circulatory system, our digestive system, our urinary system, our reproductive health system. All of those make up our physical health, right? So it's not just taking care of the outside. We have incorporated nutrition into health and wellness and exercise because these are vital for us to maintain and to have optimal health. You know, we know that even as we look at the three-legged stool that we think of as comprising of health, we have to recognize that they're all interconnected. We may not be able to see how they're connected, but we're all one composite, you know, and we are made up of all these aspects. And within each leg of the health stool, there are multiple complex systems also that are involved here. So we're going to start out with a very basic conversation about physical health. And we know, even though we say it's basic, it's really not that basic. It's pretty complex, yet it's very simple. And here we want to talk about things that we understand. We want to break them down a little bit to make them even more understandable for us, everyday people. We want to be able to interpret and understand the language that our healthcare providers use at times that goes right over our heads. We do not understand. We're unable to interpret. And it has forced many of us to become Google practitioners. You know, we can find the information we're looking for, even though we may still not understand in our ways how to interpret them. You know, in dealing with the physical health, we take our bodies everywhere we go, or rather, our bodies take us everywhere we go. So, whichever way we look at it, we take our bodies, or our bodies transport us everywhere we go. So, the physical part of us is that which is required for us to live in a physical world. Okay, so this is necessary. And even though nowadays in health, we can have some parts replaced, we can have some organs, internal organs replaced, we can have surgically, by the way, we can't do it ourselves at home. So we can have surgical replacements of joints. You know, we can have diseased areas removed from our bodies. But essentially, this physical body that we have, that has been gifted to us, is all that we will have to navigate life on this planet. It is what grounds us. It is what keeping us from floating away. Okay? So we have to treat this body and understand the body in the sense that it is necessary. So when we talk about health, we are talking about that which pertains to every single human being. And of course, if we have pets, if we have animals, if we take care of chickens, health also pertains to them. And their health, we are learning, also impacts the health of human beings. So it's a huge topic and it's a necessary one. It's crucial for us to learn as much as possible and to understand even more of what all of this means. No, you don't have to go to medical school, or study advanced biology and chemistry to understand. So we really want to make it simple enough for us to understand. We're going to look later on at um, reading labels. We're going to look at what does the blood pressure numbers mean and the blood glucose numbers. What do they mean? Those tests that our doctors send us to the lab to have done. What do they mean? What are those numbers? What are they talking about? Yeah. And so when we think of ourselves as physical beings, we have to think of what we're composed of, right? So we are also, even though we're solid in mass, internally we're mostly fluid. Okay? So we are literally held within our skin and our bones a whole lot of water, a whole lot of liquid. And there is a requirement that there is a certain balance, acid, base balance, alkalinity, and acidity that is required for a healthy state. So we're going to look at those in other segments. But today, as we begin to look at the physical, we are considering the physical being what we can see on the outside. So our head and what's inside of it, the brain, the eyes, all the systems that cause us to smell and to taste, right? We're thinking about what the head sits on, the neck, the backbone, the abdominal cavity, the chest cavity that houses vital organs that we can't live without. We can't live without a heart. We can't live without at least one lung. We can't live without stomach and the intestines. We can live without part of the intestine. But we can't live without the majority of our intestines. We can't live very comfortably without a functioning bladder and all of that will help us eliminate our liver and kidneys and so on. So when we're talking about physical health, we want to look at all that affects the physical functioning. So For some of us who've had injuries, we know that an injury to a toe is going to affect our ability to walk or to exercise. Joint problems going to affect the activity and limit our activity, so to speak, right? We know that if there are skin disorders, that will affect us. Our skin is called the largest organ. All right, so we're going to break it down and do area by area as we look at the physical. So I just want to thank you so much for being here today. But before I go, the mental. The mental is really what we can't see, and most of the times we don't fully understand. It's really about the mind. And there is a mind that is within every human being. It's how we think or what we think with. It's how our emotions are expressed. And mental wellness is a major part of health. It's here looking like it's the central leg of the health stool. But it affects the physical, and it's affected by the social, and it also affects the social well-being as well. So we're going to try and dig or dive into understanding a little bit more about mental wellness. What does that look like? What does it feel like? Well, we have an epidemic of stress and anxiety and depression and other mental disorders. But what does a state of mental wellness look like? That's what we aim to produce. And then the social aspect. Again, we cannot separate this part of living and life from our health. We know that we don't all experience life in the same way. We're not all born into the same access, right? We're not all raised the same way. So our social environment contributes or detracts from our health. Yes, people who have more access or easier access or have more money may have more access, but it still does not stop or preclude them from developing health diminishing conditions. Okay, life happens to all of us, but we're going to explore how the social aspect of our lives, where we live, how much we earn, what our thoughts, our social ideas about health seeking, about eating, about exercise. How do we address mental challenges in our social environment? All of that has an impact on health. So thank you so much for your time and for your presence here. And I'm asking you to join me again for the next episode when we are going to dive deeper into health. We're going to be introducing different health-related topics. We're going to have invited guests. We're going to invite you to come along and to share your experiences, to ask your questions. And please remember to like, share, and to subscribe to this channel. This has been the first segment of your health, for your health only. And I'm very glad that you've been here. We will continue our conversations in our next podcast.